What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. Today, we're talking about South Carolina and a Senate race that is a lot closer than what people think. Look, Lindsey Graham is still likely to win that race. Let's be clear about that, okay? But this thing is tightening up very fast. And here's what makes it worse. While we've got a government shutdown dragging on, while there's serious talk about conflict with Iran, while people are struggling to pay bills, gas prices are going up, food prices are going up. Lindsey Graham got caught in a photo at Disney World.
Yeah, yeah.
Lindsey Graham got caught in a photo at Disney World. But first, I'm going to show you a clip of him talking about boots on the ground in Iran, taking Karj Island. Then we're going to go look at the photo.
The American people are nervous, and
They should be nervous.
even supporters of President Trump have said this does not need to continue.
Well, I'm telling you, what needs to continue is to make sure that the largest state sponsor of terrorism can't get a nuclear weapon to blow us all up and hold us hostage. To the American people, they were 2 weeks away from having 90% enriched uranium to make 10 bombs. They've got missiles that go 4,000 kilometers. We're not going to live that way anymore. Since 1979, these people have been terrorizing the world. They've got American blood on their hands, and here's what we accomplished in 20 days. Their missile program has been obliterated.
But we
Their
saw the
nuclear
missile that
program
went
has been
towards
obliterated,
Dear
and they're
Garcia.
running out of money. So here's what I tell President Trump. Keep it up for a few more weeks. Take Karg Island, where all of the resources they have to produce oil, control that island, let this regime die on a vine.
Is this going to, though, take Karg Island? Is it going to involve U.S. troops on the ground? Let me just read you
I don't
something
know
from The
yet.
Atlantic. Does an assessment on that. They say U.S. troops may well take Karg Island. We believe in their ability to do so, but only to endure ballistic missile strikes, drone attacks, petrochemical smoke, all without a reliable means of obtaining logistical support. The result could be a grinding war of attrition. They talk about how far away they would be from resupply.
I'm sort of tired of all this armchair quarterback, and this has been an amazing military operation. God bless the fallen.
But it's a difference when we talk about troops on the ground.
I trust the Marines, not that guy. I trust DOD. We got 2 Marine expeditionary units sailing to this island. We did Iwo Jima. We can do this.
So there goes Lindsey Graham talking about Iran. He's talking about taking Karg Island. He's talking about Marines going in. He's comparing it to Iwo Jima. That's not small talk. That's not theoretical. That's real world consequences. That's troops. That's risk. That's escalation. And listen, supporting the military is one thing. That's not the issue. But when you start talking about boots on the ground in a situation like that, people are going to pay attention because that's not just strategy. That's lives. Now, let's look at where he stands politically. Against the generic Democrat, he's only up by about 2 or 3 points in the polls. Against Dr. Ann Andrews, about 6 points. But here's the part people need to hear. When voters actually know both candidates, that gap drops to about 2 points. That matters because Lindsey Graham has been in Washington for decades. And when someone's been in office that long, you're not supposed to be in a tight race. That tells you something is shifting. People in South Carolina are not as locked in as they used to be. They're looking at him like, is this time for something different, something new? And depending on how this Iran situation plays out, especially if it drags out, costs go up, pressure builds, this race could get even tighter. Now let's look at these photos, because this is where everything connects. TMZ just dropped this bomb. TMZ just dropped these photos of Lindsey Graham at Disney World. Let's line this up. Government shutdown still going on. TSA workers dealing with long lines, uncertainty, not getting paid correctly. People struggling with inflation, gas, food, everyday expenses. And at the same time, your senator, your South Carolina senator, is at Disney World. Now, let's be clear. He's allowed to go. That's not illegal, but that's not the point. The point is how it looks. Because while he's out there talking about sending people's kids overseas, people back home are dealing with real problems. Bills, jobs, cost of living. And people notice that disconnect. They notice when it feels like somebody is focused somewhere else. That's why this matters. It reminds people of when Ted Cruz went to Cancun during a crisis in his state of Texas. Optics matter, especially when people are already frustrated. You got Lindsey Graham out here talking tough on Iran, selling wolf tickets for real, pushing aggressive action, backing strikes, supporting moves that could very easily put American troops in harm's way. And then what do we see? We see you, Lindsey Graham, walking around Walt Disney World, smiling, relaxed, like everything is just fine. You're talking about war, real war, not a speech, not a headline, actual young men and women possibly being sent into danger, into harm's way. And you're at Disneyland. That contrast hits people. They don't like it. Because war is easy to talk about when you're not the one who has to go. It's easy to sound strong. It's easy to sound decisive. But the people who have to pay for it, they don't get a vacation. They get deployment orders. They get uncertainty. Their families get fear. And people are not blind to that anymore, okay? This is where it turns political. And this is the part folks ain't saying out loud. People are starting to see the disconnect that you all have in Washington with the real people out here on the street. They're starting to see what feels like disingenuousness, because you can't sell urgency, sacrifice, and seriousness on one hand and then look completely detached from it on the other. And voters pick up on that. That's part of why he's not as strong politically as you'd expect in a normal election cycle. Because in a normal election cycle, a longtime incumbent like him should be crushing it. But when people start questioning your authenticity, when they start feeling like you're saying one thing and living another, that chips away at the trust. And once trust starts to crack even a little bit, it shows up in the numbers, bro. It shows up in tighter races. It shows up in voters hesitating. It shows up in people saying, something about this just don't sit right with me. And that's what this moment represents. Not just a trip, not just a photo, but a bigger question. Do the people make these decisions actually feel the weight of those decisions? Or are they just talking? Because the people are watching, and they're not just listening anymore. They're judging what you do.